Atelier Ryza 2, and it's the sequel to Atelier Ryza. Can you believe it? I'm kind of in love with her. Now she's legal, so it's important to note that.
We're starting strong.
We are starting strong.
Well, now she's 19.
You didn't pull a Drake and rent out an entire restaurant when she was 15 to have dinner with her.
No. And
you were good.
Never fucking would. She's a fake
Speaking
character.
of renting an entire restaurant out.
Did you rent an entire restaurant out?
No, that's your cue to start the episode.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That is the worst segue I've ever heard in my entire life.
That's the bit, though. I'm bad at segues.
Oh, okay. That's a
there's
good,
half
it's a
the
good
time
bit to have.
The conversations we get to, there's no segue out of.
No. It's
Yeah.
like
Atelier Rise.
our segues are a lot like the guy who invented the Segway, who died by trying to stop very.
Bet you I can stop right at the edge.
Bet you I can stop right at the edge of this cliff.
Here, the Dogcast is part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network.
There we go.
Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. Check out all the other amazing shows. Thank you. And this is the Dogcast.
It truly is.
I got us started, Tyler.
Way to go. I'm Tyler. I'm here. I'm present. Who do I got with me?
Present. I'm Brad.
Oh.
And I'm a gift
You're a gift?
instead of present.
Ooh, look at you. Treat yourself.
I still hate it. My name is Dylan.
I opened my mouth and Dylan's like, no, I don't like that.
Like, no, bad. Let's get rid of it. No, I'm here. I'm ready to go. In fact, I've had 2 hours of sleep, so this is great.
I've had not great sleep. I was out very late last night. It is Midwest Gaming Classic this weekend. We didn't run a stage this year. Big congratulations, though, to Dom for getting married. And yeah, but I was out late, and it was a good time. You wouldn't have wanted to come out last night, though, Dylan.
Why?
Because it was a Punch Bowl social.
Oh, I would have been fine. It would have been hilarious. I would have just been talking to people, shooting the shit. None of them I would have known because they fired everyone during the pandemic.
Dylan used to be a bouncer there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was what's called a guest ambassador.
I was just talking to
He was a
girl.
guest ambassador with a bad.
I was a guest ambassador who literally had to keep out everyone awful.
Yeah, you were a guest and a brand ambassador.
He's a bad ambassador.
Oh, man, but did they love me when people got violent?
This is a podcast about video games and beer and video games.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
And you want to start with what you guys been playing?
This is non-traditional. But
I
yes,
love this.
I will do this.
I love this.
I feel like
Tyler's throwing
Tyler's
throwing bad
it.
curveballs.
Hold on, I'm into it, and I love it. Let's go with this energy.
Never
All right.
changed. We love it.
Dylan, you
Babushka.
start because you already kind of told us you were playing.
I've been playing a lot. I've been playing Atelier Ryza 2 since like.
And she's
basically this
19 now,
morning.
right?
She's 19 now. Yeah.
Okay.
She's great. Her and all of her friends. I remember the fun adventure we had that one summer. You know, it's a whole big story. It's fun. The Atelier series is a legitimately good series that people tend to sleep on. It's actually really in depth. The alchemy system, it involves a lot of collecting, fighting monsters. The battle system rules.
Okay.
I honestly will force you guys at some point to play these games.
I like
at
it
least one or two of them.
Every time Dylan has forced me to play a game, it's become one of my favorites.
Yeah, I don't take that as a threat.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like a threat of a good time. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to have a birthday party. It's like, no.
There's going to be cake and ice cream.
And it's all good tasting.
It falls into like the genre of like a cozy game. That's like the new genre people are talking about now, like the cozy game, the one that doesn't give you too much stress, but still lets you kind of play around with it.
So not the other game that you've
Succeed.
been playing a lot recently.
Resident Evil 4.
I would say not a cozy game, probably.
It's not, but it's not surprising.
Depends on your term of cozy, because I could see myself cozying up on a rainy day and playing Resident Evil 4 and just having a grand old time.
But it works you up. It's a stressful game.
It is.
And
So-
when I think of cozy games, I think of not stressed out.
But Brad, that's my streak.
I'm not stressed out in this game at all.
Were you frustrated? You seemed frustrated in some of your messages.
There are some points in the game where they introduce new segments of unkillable enemies.
I hate that.
They are some of them are technically killable, but if you don't want to waste all of your ammo and if you're not properly upgraded and get all the treasures and sell and upgrade all your shit properly, then you're screwed.
There is a rule that I have with zombie things, and a shot to the head, you die. Shot to the head, you're dead.
It takes 2 or 3.
And I don't like that.
In the first one,
Sure, body shots I understand. Maybe 10 shots.
In the first one, you had a laser pointer.
Yeah.
Essentially. Which you could scope onto people. Tyler, you played it as well. And if you got the right in between the eyes, the head would explode immediately. It's not the case with this. To kind of curb that, they've given you a lot more ammo, and it almost feels like they are babying you halfway through the game.
I don't like that, because when I did get that headshot that just killed him instantly, you feel skilled.
That pop.
Yeah, and the game, I mean, going back and playing the original one is very cumbersome, and the controls don't really... They don't hold very well.
But they also lend themselves to survival horror in a way that this no longer does. This is ostensibly just an action game with horror elements. You know how you remember the first time that the Les Plagas pops out of one of the heads of a person that you killed?
Yeah, I peed a little bit.
That starts probably 20% earlier in the game.
I don't like that.
But you have a knife with durability, and you can repair it. You can get kind of like not one-off knives, but like weaker knives. You always have your combat knife.
Butter knives.
Essentially. And there's a lot less of... There is resource management, which is like the key to it. But also at the same time, there is a way to get out of almost any scenario without having to feel too stressed. Now, maybe it's because I'm playing on normal. I thought I was playing on hard. I was not. But at the same time, I kind of felt hampered by its own systems. I didn't really... I felt nostalgic for the first one, but I didn't really feel like I was really getting anything new. There are sections which surprised me.
This game has very high expectations to live up to, and it's one of those things that
people love it.
That's what I've heard, but it's almost like there's no way to make everybody happy with what they're going to do.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's widely viewed as the most popular Resident Evil game of all time, or one of the most beloved. A lot of people will point to this one as the pinnacle of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Putting it out there, it is still my top game of the year right now.
So far. It's still early.
It's still early, but it's still good enough to say that it takes top contender, because even with Fire Emblem, I kind of fizzed out.
Yeah.
This was like, it was like coming home to something and then feeling extremely old because of it. Because to me, they've released Resident Evil 4 so many times on different systems, even just like they did their own remasters.
Yeah.
And now they do a remake, which then makes you feel like, well...
Remake the multiplayer PS2 online games, you cowards.
Yeah.
Well, then thinking back to it, I'm like, well, this game is almost 20 years old.
Make a new game.
18 years old.
Make a new game called Wesker, and it's just Wesker the whole time.
Oh boy. No, well, now they can do 5 and 6 and retcon some of that weirdness.
I don't think they would retcon it. I think they would work it in. They would make it not as horrible sounding. Tyler, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Crusader Kings 3 still. Yep, I am the king of...
You're locking up your children?
I did have to lock up one of my kids.
And why?
Well, when I was looking for my spouse to start my lineage, I always go with the desirable traits, and I found the...
You want your spouse to be desirable is what you're saying?
You do, because you can arrange marriages with like bigger kings and queens down the road and secure larger armies. So I was like, all right, I see this girl. She's got the little green badge that says like, it's like attractive. Like they're very visually appealing to look at.
Sure.
And then I had a son who was born a giant, and he had like the grizzly bear one. So he was like a massive fighter. And I was like, sweet, I will just rank up a bunch of gold during this king's lifespan, and then I'll spend it all on war because I'm the king of Scotland, and fuck you, England, here I come.
Yeah.
Then he fucked my wife.
Your
his
son.
mother, yeah, which was kind of a big deal. No, they were in love because I asked her to stop. I was like, don't have sex with
that
her.
happens in the that does happen.
No, I know.
And then I was like, hey, please don't do that. That's weird. A, B.
You're a good father. Please don't do that.
Please don't do that with your son.
Bit too much of a grizzly bear, huh?
That's weird. B, it makes me look real bad, and I'm like the king of Scotland. And she was like, too bad, I'm gonna keep doing it. So I had to lock both of them up. Then I became
hopefully not together.
Mm-hmm. No, separate dungeons. And
this is my daughter and my stepdaughter and my grandson.
This is my wife And my wife's lover, my son.
I am my own stepdad. Or father-in-law, whatever it is. I don't know.
They were just like, dude, we're
me.
gonna.
I'm the
They
father
literally
now.
told you they were just gonna keep doing it.
She did, because you can like go to her and be like, hey, can you stop? Or you can lock her up, or you can like, sometimes you can torture her or whatever.
Why wouldn't you execute her?
Well, and she's like, it's okay. He turned 19.
He did, literally. That's how old he was.
It's anime. There's no age. It's
Yeah,
fine.
so
It makes me sound so gross.
that was 2 generations ago, though, and I'm still going strong. England still exists, but I've kind of pushed Norway out of the upper England area.
So you're gonna do a pincer attack.
I'm thinking about it. France is getting kind of scary right now, but other than King Crusaders,
France always gets a little scary.
yeah,
Look at
especially if
those
the Holy
protests,
Roman
you know?
Empire falls and they get all that land, it's like they're kind of a
Charlemagne,
juggernaut.
Yeah, man.
I've been playing more Elden Ring. Bouncing between my OG character and my new Faith Sword and Shield build, which is a lot of fun.
Okay.
How's the shield working out for you? I haven't stepped into shield.
I leaned so heavy on it on my first playthrough.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't very good at dodging attacks.
Sure.
So I'm pretty skilled with it now. I don't ever use the parry. I always just let my Ash of War on my sword do the talking.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun because I've just been buffing my character with different faith incantations and then just going hard.
Using lightning, baby.
Haven't got the lightning yet because I haven't gone to that guy.
The guy who's roaming around in the
Yeah,
countryside.
I
That
haven't
is the
found
best
him.
spell you'll ever have in your
I
life.
just beat Godric though without any summons, and that made me feel like a big boy.
With those games, after you beat them once, it's much less intimidating to return.
It is, but I used so many. I used the summons and the ashes, and I had a staff, so I wasn't really in the mix. A lot of the bosses I fought, I was in the background, just glass cannon sort of thing.
It'd be fun to do a run, like I will only use the weakest ashes. I can power them up, but I will only use the rats, which are actually supposed to be okay.
They can swarm. They're fine.
And the higher you level it up, the more rats you get.
Yeah.
And actually, they're free. That's a free summon. You don't actually lose any penalty for it, which is
That would be
interesting.
great because I've been using the Godric soldiers, the 2 soldiers.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty tanky.
Yeah.
So,
Mimic
but I
tier was my only go-to.
once I get that, it's over. That's all I'm going to use.
I need to make myself not use it because it's just a crutch at that point.
It's a huge crutch, and it's game-breaking at a certain point.
That is what I've been playing though.
Cool.
What I'm going to highlight as far as video games, I did play some Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64
Okay.
online for the Switch.
Great. How was it going back to that? It sucks, huh?
It it wasn't what I remembered. I remember thinking it was a good game.
It is a fine game. Like, the problem ends up being...
I'm like, dude, that's Electabuzz. 10 out of 10. that was
there's
me back
Electabuzz.
then.
Look, Voltorb, he's here too. He can explode if you throw an apple
I think
at
it's a
him.
gassy, but I can't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And yesterday, I'm just going to highlight one of the games I played at MGC. I played Austin Powers Pinball for a while, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
That game was fantastic.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Yeah. Every time you like hit a ramp, there's a little Austin Powers figure that does like a spin.
Really?
And there's like a big fat bastard in there. And it was after the second movie, but some pinball machines just work and some don't. And that one was working for me.
There are so many at MGC that I played so many, and I got like, you can almost tell right away which ones are good and which ones are bad.
And it's not even necessarily just good or bad, but like this Game of Thrones machine versus one you played at a bar, it's like the balance will be different. Like it'll have the incline can be raised a little bit, or it might not be level, and it will throw an entire machine out of whack. So you can play the same machine in multiple locations, and it's like, nah, this one's not going to work for me today.
Yeah, the Dark Knight machine at Finks versus Up Down are both different.
It's amazing how different they can be.
Yeah. The Halloween one we played last year at MGC is
Very
still
cool.
my favorite.
Very cool
That
machine.
one was so fucking cool.
They had a Pulp Fiction machine I couldn't play because there was a big crowd around it the whole time, but it's a new machine. Josh was very excited. I was at MGC yesterday and a little bit today. Hung out with Josh quite a bit. Love that man. Josh is doing great. And then I saw Tom very briefly today, and he was playing Godfather Pinball. And yeah, it was great seeing them. Hung out with the Duck Feed guys. Watch out for Fireballs and Bonfireside Chat. Those guys are always great. Hung out with Bob Mackey a little bit and Gaming Off the Grid. Saw John Riggs, John Hancock, Batsu. We talked about Dom doing the backflip, and the Batsu guy's like, I'm not going to lie, I was extremely worried when he started doing that backflip.
Oh, man, Dom fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Hugely memorable.
He's like, when he landed on his feet, I nearly shit myself.
Man knows what he's doing.
And I will just show some of my pickups from MGC real quick.
This is not a video podcast, but yes. We have Fast and
Festa?
Thagen,
Oh, I thought it said Fast and Festa.
a game of Cthulhuoid street racing by Jeff Tibdall.
It's a Fast and the Furious mixed with Cthulhu board game.
Oh, and you got
And despite the existential horror and dread, do you know what this is about? It's about family.
It's about family and racing. That's a Super Mario Galaxy vinyl record I picked up.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Mario Galaxy. I don't know if it's the original soundtrack.
Probably, maybe.
Otherwise, it's a boot, which I don't think STS would have been selling boots, but I think it might have been one of those like recreations, which are like 1-to-1.
My first guess was Katamari Damacy with the colors, but this is very cool.
I got all of these Xbox demo discs for $10.
He's
Hey,
holding
no
a
shit.
stack that is probably
Why
got
are
a
you
good
collecting
25.
trash?
These are these are interesting. These are artifacts, and
They're all different.
no, they're all different. They're like that
I was expecting like duplicate.
it's
Let me see the ones in your right hand.
Yeah, sure.
it's
I thought I saw
demos
it.
of like probably 150 Xbox games,
Yeah, man.
which is cool. This is a complete in-box Tetris for the Nintendo.
Wow.
Yep, it's got the booklet in there and everything. I was very excited to get this.
I've watched the movie, by the way.
I'm very excited to watch it. We might watch it tonight.
It's fucking good. If you need like me to tell you, I'm not even a movie guy. Like, oh, and you got a new Game Boy?
I got
refurbished.
I got a Game Boy that came with a Tetris and this case for $50 in working order, and it's crazy to me. And then I was waiting for a panel to start, and I thought I was turning the volume up, and I thought I broke my Game Boy. But it was just, there's a contrast slider, and that's why I couldn't see anything.
Oh yeah, the contrast.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing that I bought was this game from Gaming Off the Grid.
Gummy Bears Mini Golf.
Gummy Bears Mini Golf. Surprisingly, only one player. You'd expect the Gummy Bears to be a multiplayer game, but...
Well, I mean, they're kind of lone bears.
Well, and you can't have that game and Friends at the same time,
I think that this belonged to one sad child, yes.
But
It seems like the appropriate thing.
I always like to look at Wii games and try and find what is the weirdest, worst thing.
Well, the biggest shovelware you can throw your face at.
I mean, this is from Storm City Games in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Okay, well,
And I'm there for that. But yes, those were my pickups at MGC.
well, I'm excited that
And
if
a
we
bunch of
do
board games.
if we do end up doing it again, I'm excited to go next year.
I believe we will. We'll see, though. It was also really nice not having a stage.
It's nice.
And
Just being able to go and enjoy.
there's so much
I mean,
less
we don't.
pressure
Well,
and
even if
expectations.
it's not a stage, to have a booth, we don't need a stage, really.
Because, yeah, it used to just be a booth for a while until things just escalated.
Well, it would cause us less headache, but that's conversation for off podcast.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's cool, too.
Fast and the Furious mixed with Cthulhu, some weird shit. And it was half off. All the board games are half off, so I get excited about that.
Hell yeah.
But those were my pickups. MGC was great.
I do like this case. This reminds me of a lot.
My friend's band, Arcade Mode, played some insane rock electric guitar versions of like NES music and Final Fantasy battle themes. They played Fire Emblem. They were just shredding, and it was amazing. That was great. There was wrestling. There was Jeffrey Wittenhagen. There's a lot of cool people. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I just had to mention we will be at MGC next year, folks. But this year was like an interquel.
Yes.
Segues are weird. Here's the news.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
That was good, right?
No, that was great.
Let's go.
Tyler, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hungover are you?
A solid 6.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm at probably a 7. But as soon as we got to MGC today, Josh was like, I got a hazy IPA in my backpack. You want it? And I was like, yes, Josh, I'll take a beer. And then he just kept pulling out more beers, and like Tom and his cousin showed up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the news, I was going to talk about it, and then I figured people could just read it on their own because it was fun for me to read. IGN did an interview with Alexi and Hank talking about the Tetris movie and some of the differences and their thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Just go read it on your own because, I mean, we did 2 episodes on it. I felt like it would be a little redundant to talk about it again.
Subscribe to our Patreon to access the second part because that gets wild.
Yep. And we will probably do a Popcorn Dogs, but the Tetris movie, maybe. I'd also want to wait because we talked about Tetris a lot lately. But.
It doesn't matter. Like, it should just be a bonus thing because I'm excited to talk about it. I literally watched it 3 hours ago. So.
I watched a clip of it, posted it in the Discord.
I signed up for Apple TV.
Probably got a free trial.
Yeah, and then I immediately deleted it.
Well, you should have crushed Ted Lasso real fast. I hear that's fantastic.
Ted Lasso makes me angry.
Okay.
Tom has vouched for it. I trust Tom.
Tom, I love him.
There's 2 things I know about Tom. He likes Weird Al and he likes the Golden Girls. And that's all I need to know about someone.
He's wrong about Ted Lasso.
I thought you were going to say wrong about the Golden Girls, and I was going to say we're wrong about our friendship.
Dylan, you're outnumbered here.
No, I think Ted Lasso is just absolutely like, am I supposed to be laughing now?
E3 is canceled.
Why don't you marry me? Oh, too late.
This comes after a bunch of different developers and publishers started dropping like flies. Ubisoft was the most recent to drop out and say they were going to do their own thing. What would have been the first in-person E3 since 2019 has been canceled.
They were really just going to try and do it without the big hitters saying they were coming.
Well, we knew this was happening.
It was
destined to happen.
It was destined to happen.
The Nintendo Directs alone on YouTube get so many views.
And there's no surprises with the Directs. Carefully edited, carefully planned, and it's going to be what it is.
There are surprises.
Well, no, like expected surprises. Not like you hold up a thing, go Ridge Racer, and it becomes a meme because no one There's nothing that you didn't anticipate to happen.
Sure.
Yeah. The coordinated surprises are what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Entertainment Software Association, who puts on the event, put out an email saying that while E3 is still a beloved brand and event, the upcoming 2023 Expo had simply not garnered the sustained interest necessary to execute in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact in the industry. On March 30th, the ESA president and CEO, Stanley Pierre-Louis, talked about why they were calling it off, blaming COVID, bad economy as some of the reasons.
Okay, excuse making is not.
Also, in the fine print, nobody wanted to come.
Yes.
Nobody wanted to go to LA in the middle of downtown traffic to see a bunch of developers that they don't care about.
They didn't want to pay Chris Pratt to show up and talk about the movie.
Yeah.
It's expensive. It's expensive for all of them to go there instead of I made a fucking trailer for the internet.
And on top of that, you like with a Nintendo Direct or a State of Play or something like that, you're showcasing your games for your company. You coordinate it around the other events that other companies are doing. So you have your time to shine. At E3, you're kind of battling all the other publishers to outdo each other. So why put up with the cost and the competition when you can just host your own shit?
Well, that's the state of everything right now, and especially with newer generations like Gen Z. They don't care about traveling to a place to consume anything because they don't have to. And God bless them, they're like me. It's less of an event. It's not, more or less paying access to get to a bazaar.
It's not worth the cost for any of the companies anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farewell. And
do you think it's dead? Do you think this was
I think this
the
is
dying
the
breath?
If anything, I could see it becoming a digital event somewhere down the line. But I don't think the companies want to play ball like that.
Well,
Xbox and Sony have been arguing nonstop for the past 12 months.
God, legal battles and everything. But then consider, like, there are places like PAX where it's more dedicated gamers.
Yeah.
Usually your fan base is a lot more niche. So you get to be able to kind of cater to that audience. It's indie developers. And everyone gets like a station. They get to be able to kind of display themselves in a way where it's not undignified. Because you're not like going up against Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft in first party. Like you just get to be able to show what you have and let people play it and then garner interest. Because that's where the magic is happening now. Indie games are becoming quickly like the games to play because, as we all know, like we were talking about it, you had a story about it that modern games now are taking like 5 or 6 years to complete. And there's no way around that. So there's got to be things in between.
Mm-hmm. And how many games? I mean, I know, Brad, you have your hard drive setups where you have every game ever made, downloaded it, ready to go. And I don't have that.
Which he's all paid for before.
Yes.
No, I'm not on
Your
a computer.
Game Pass.
Yeah, with the Game Pass.
Yeah.
I just have like a 10 terabyte hooked up on there. I have an emulator with shit on the computer, but that's not what you were talking about.
I don't have external HD, but I do keep.
They're a good investment.
I need to get one.
I've got one.
But Cult of the Lamb, Hades, Civilization is a small download. I don't count that as an indie game, obviously.
It's not an indie game.
That is not.
But it lumps in because it's a small download.
I don't.
But
no,
not
small
as an indie
downloads
game.
do not equal small games.
Not as an indie game. That was a slip. I didn't mean to say it, but now people know it's on there. But
We're going to record an apology. We'll submit later.
Apologize to Civilization.
I'll put it out in a tweet later.
I just want to apologize to Civilization 6.
I love your game.
I love your game. I've put hundreds of hours into the game. I don't have
put millions of hours.
I don't have to
into that
apologize
game.
to them. I've bought the game 4 times. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
In other news, this is something that made me all warm and fuzzy inside. Australian government wants to give an 18+ rating to any games with gambling elements. This includes loot boxes and the stupid mutt teams like Madden Ultimate Team.
But that would include Fortnite then.
Yes.
I think that's great. Quit trying to get kids hooked on things to spend money. They're children.
Exactly.
They don't know what a V-Buck is because they don't relate it to real dollars and they don't know what it is to earn $1. So I fully support it. It's like, I know people who have given their kids V-Bucks, like let's say with Fortnite. And they're like, you have to spend this carefully because I got this for you for your birthday. It's like $50 worth of V-Bucks. And then they spend it and then it's gone. Hey, where's more of it? And it's just like,
oh, I bought this skin. I look like Blade from the movies now. Isn't that cool?
How much did it cost?
Oh, it was $50.
It was totally $50. Yeah, I think this is actually like a good move on the AU's part.
Good for Australia.
Yeah, and
good on you, mate.
Instead of demonizing video games for violence here, we should be focusing on how companies are being predatory towards children.
They can't do that. The companies pay for them. The companies pay the government to take care of them.
I bought Resident Evil 4, and at Target, they asked me for my ID. They're like, I'm sorry, we have to do it. I'm like, no, man, it's fine. It's fucking cool. And
Imagine if you didn't have your ID. Like, that'd have been a predicament because they'd be like, look at the guy. He's 18.
So I love this because I feel like the focus on loot boxes and especially in sports games, which I play a lot of, the hyper focus on the ultimate team and the packs that you can get that you have to spend money on to build your team.
Well, it's like cheating, yeah.
The publishers and developers spend way too much time and focus on that, and other areas of the game are not seeing the love that they used to. The franchise modes are terrible across the board.
You have to influence them from the outside in. So most normal gamers, they don't go into a game with any knowledge of kind of how microtransactions work or any of this stuff. So this is actually a good move because through government, you can actually be like, hey, this isn't good. Why don't you just make the video?
You know what I want to see on cigarette packs? They say like, this will cause cancer. I'd love it, like a big red band around all those games. Like, this game features gambling.
Oh, so many parents would be like, no.
Yeah, like, no, there's gambling.
Yeah.
Like, I think that'd be an effective way. And also,
I agree with that. I think that's okay. Like, make your choices based off of that. Most parents won't.
And then they should also just have a picture of a kid in a fake little prison on there too.
Yeah.
Well, there's no debtor's prison, so you're fine.
Yeah, but you wind up in prison for the things you do to get out of debt. Sometimes,
like selling drugs.
There's nothing wrong with.
Hey, don't knock selling drugs.
I was going to make the most lewd joke I think I've ever made on the podcast, and then I won't.
Do you guys ever have it where?
Thank you.
Do you guys ever have it where there's like a big piece of news that you missed, and you're like, "Holy fuck! How the fuck did I not hear about this?"
Sometimes
I don't know. Maybe.
There's a Gears of War movie announced at Netflix apparently months ago that I totally missed.
I think
the most boring movie on our fucking.
I was gonna say I wouldn't say that I missed it. I wasn't aware
I
of
didn't
it.
miss shit.
You're telling me
no, there's gonna be a guy with a soul patch that says "Urgh."
not a guy. It's gonna be David Bautista with the soul patch.
yeah.
Chainsawing Locust. I want to see that.
I support
Bad CGI.
I support Dave
Yeah.
Bautista. Those games are incredibly weak story wise.
They have nothing going for them.
The gameplay, that over the shoulder third person cover shooter was fun the first time I played Gears of War 1, and then I played Gears of War 2 with my homie, and both of us, as soon as we got done, was like,
What did we do?
That wasn't worth our time. That was just Gears of War 1 again.
Yeah.
Which is not what I want from 2.
I liked the multiplayer. I played it a lot.
The multiplayer is fun.
That and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 were probably the 2 games I played the most during high school.
You can only get away with just having a chainsaw for a gun as your entire game for so long. And the reload, I liked the reload system a lot, where if you were on there, like it was a fast reload or you fucked it up.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
But the torque bow was dope as hell.
Torque bow is cool.
Yeah,
They're
awesome.
I have mostly like an issue with like it's just so bare bones story wise. They have the gall to call themselves sci-fi because they take place on an alien planet.
It's also trapped in the late Xbox, early 360 macho gamer feel.
The brown era is what I call it.
Yeah, the Monster Energy drink and Affliction t-shirt.
Everything is gray and brown.
It's not to me. I'm not talking about like the design. I'm talking about the attitude about what men wanted from games at the time. It was like extreme Mountain Dew with 3 X's afterwards for some reason.
Get your code red.
Get your game fuel.
And it was just like men that didn't talk and they were like badass.
That's true, yeah.
That whole, it's like cringy. It's like early Kratos, which he is better than Gears of War, but that whole like vibe that was being put out for gamers at that time, I look back on it and it just, those games have not aged well.
No. Yeah, if you want, you know what? This is all to our young men that listen to the podcast. If you want a role model to look up to, look at Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan, great stand-up guy. And if that doesn't do it for you, Gerard Way, lead
or
singer
Jeffrey
of My
Dean
Chemical
Morgan,
Romance.
supposed to be a great guy.
It literally depends on how you play Arthur Morgan, though.
Yeah, well, that's up to the listener.
Dylan's Arthur Morgan was not a moral
My Arthur
character.
Morgan was a bit of both because I was going to be a criminal anyway. So
I start dishonest at the beginning of the game, and then through a series of events, his heart opens up to the world.
So you
and he
wrote
becomes
your own. Okay, I mean that's fine. I just don't really like. At the end,
Don't yuck someone's yums.
he's
Don't
killed.
dim my light.
He's killed over 5,000 people by the
So
end
is
of my
Nathan
game.
Drake.
Yeah, I know. I don't
He
like
is
him
the most
either.
prolific serial killer in the history of video games.
I am not an Uncharted fan. I like it, but it's like I'm not like. I'm not a fanatic.
I need to play through 2 through 4 because I played 1 and I was definitely a product of its time.
Two is still the best one.
Okay.
I really like Thieves' End. Thieves' End was really good to tie up the whole series.
Yeah, and I like 3 because I got the big box set with like. I still own like the collector's edition with like this weird like curio cabinet made out of cardboard, which still exists in my house.
And I have this beautiful Uncharted 4 that Dylan gave me.
Oh yeah, it's yours now. I didn't want it. Turns out.
Elden Ring is back in the news. Not really news. It's just something cool that I found. You actually posted it in the Discord, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit.
No, we'll save that for Elden Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Elden Ring's doing well.
It was just about some boss attempts.
If you want to, sure, go for it.
I just thought the numbers were crazy.
Because we will talk about it on Elden Dogs as well.
All right. Melina, 329 million times players have tried to beat her. Margit the Fell Omen, 281 million. The Limgrave Tree Sentinel, 277 million, which just makes sense.
A lot of people quit at Margit.
I like the Tree Sentinel because that's literally the first boss outside in the first step. And the fact that so many people like kept fighting it.
Yeah.
Well, Margit is where my wife quit.
Well, I mean, the Tree Sentinel is supposed to be the one that teaches you don't have to fight
everyone.
everything.
Yeah. Well, that's supposed to be that's video game language that you and I are familiar with. It's not explicitly stated, but if someone coming out of there thinks like,
if
kill the thing, because that's what most people think.
If someone punches me 30 times and there's room to run away, I would run away. At some point, you can't hold someone's hand.
But that's not what video games usually do. They usually hold your hand a lot more, frankly.
They guide you by a leash and they say, Kratos, solve the puzzle now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
maybe try pulling that lever.
Do you think you could send Atreus?
Hey, brother, why don't you pull the lever over there? I was like, I just walked in the room. I will shove a sock in your mouth, Mimir.
Yeah.
There's been 5.9 billion attempts across all bosses, which is crazy because I can't even visualize in my mind or even wrap my head around how much money $1 billion is.
Yeah. That's a lot.
But 5.9 billion people, like I don't even.
When I soloed Moog, I felt crazy afterwards.
Are you talking about Margit, Morgott, or Moog the Fell Omen, or Moog the Bloodlord?
Moog the Bloodlord.
Okay, in the palace,
blood guy. No, in like the
in the Mogwin Palace.
The Mogwin Palace. Yeah.
Okay.
Like where he lets out that burst after a while. Yeah. I was like,
when he starts stabbing the invisible, formless mother god.
Yeah, that's fucking great. I soloed that because my internet was down, and I was like, yeah, well, I'll just do it. I'll fucking do it.
The Last of Us is released on PC after game came out in 2013, so 10-year wait for PC players.
Okay. No, this was the remake. This is the Last of Us Part. It was a remake.
The remaster or the remake of Part 1, yes.
Yes. So
Steam is offering refunds for the game.
Because I've seen the glitches.
On launch day, players were reporting hour-long load times and just inconsistent frame rate, glitches. I mean, pretty much anything you can think of to go wrong with a game.
Have you seen Ellie spinning like a top?
Yes. And it reminded me of when I played Cyberpunk on day one. And
yeah, me too. Oh, I didn't do it day one.
I forgot to put clothes on my character, and then he T-posed on a motorcycle.
Dude, whee!
I
did the T-pose too. I did have a leather jacket, but I was like, whee! It was nice.
Steam offers a guaranteed refund policy for players who, with under 2 hours played in a game,
under 2 hours.
Oh, now they're offering it for any playtime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you almost have to, right? You can't just be like, oh, I played it 2 hours and 10 minutes. It sucks.
And a lot of games now, 2 hours. The first 2 hours are cutscenes. Like, you can't even really get into the gameplay in a lot of games.
Yeah. When I was playing Atelier Ryza at 2 a.m., man, dude, 3 hours.
Yeah, she's 19 though.
That's fine. Like
that was your first point you made.
Well, that was her. That's her struggle.
I feel like this is just a shame because with the success of the show,
now the third one came out.
This should be a slam dunk, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be, at least right away. It also is weird that Sony has such a spotty track record with PC ports because it's not the first game that sucked balls on PC.
I don't want to say like since I became Chad Xbox that my feelings of Sony have gotten worse, but they have.
They have to.
The more I read about how Sony does stuff, and it's like, come on, man.
There's no optimization there.
Just play ball a little bit.
Yeah, and
I literally don't understand. If there's no quality control, that's what this means. Because if someone's porting it, so let's say, is Naughty Dog actually the one in charge of porting this to Steam?
I would say not.
Naughty Dog was the one who put out the tweet saying that they are addressing the issues and that there's patches inbound.
Then that means that they were in charge of this port. If they weren't, I don't know what they're working on because apparently it's a new IP. This is what I've heard.
They're working on a new IP, but it sounds like the next game they're going to release is going to be the multiplayer portion of The Last of Us Part 2.
That sucks. Because that game has been out.
Factions was awesome.
Dude, that game has been out for 1,000,000 years.
This is supposed to be like a new whole thing, though. They were going to include it in Part 2.
You are such a shill.
It's my favorite game series by my favorite game company.
Understand,
it's his shtick. It's his shtick. He's a Sony shill who's learning about indie games.
Yes.
That's his shtick, okay?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
This is going to be a Lifetime movie one day.
Yeah.
This is going to be a Lifetime movie.
Yeah,
and you're
Hallmark.
the disgruntled veteran, Dylan. Yeah. That's your shtick. You're the guy who's played too many games and you're tired of it all. And you hate the government. Yeah,
I'm ready to take it out back with a shotgun.
You're the guy who stays up all night playing Atelier Ryza too.
Atelier. Because an atelier is
that's what
where
I'm talking about. This is
the alchemy.
Yeah.
It's like a craft shop.
And my shtick is I'm not funny, but I try.
Yeah, you'll try.
Next, I'm going to tell you guys a brief story. Very brief.
There once was a man named
Ryler Melly.
No, this is the year's
whose poop was quite smelly. He sat on his bum and drank lots of rum.
And he drank until he had a full belly.
And you know what was in that belly? Jelly.
Ew, what?
Jelly. That was the thing.
Like
when I was in elementary school, Tyler Melly is smelly, has a belly full of jelly. I heard that really a million times. That?
Yeah. That was like their taunt?
That was the taunt.
Man, you went to some low-grade ass elementary school.
Yeah, it was small town public school.
What did you say in response? Stop it! Ooh.
No, I quoted Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro.
I don't even like jelly.
Tell us your story, Tyler.
Yeah,
all right, the year is 2017, and a young Tyler is scrounging for coins in his couch and selling himself on seedy corners to rake together enough money to buy an external battery. Why did he need an external battery? Mm-hmm. He needed one to charge his broken hand-me-down iPhone because at the time, he was completely consumed with Pokemon Go.
Oh, I see where we're going. I don't know if you've heard about this, Dylan.
Why?
Pokemon.
Why was he consumed with Pokemon Go?
Never.
It was because his Psyduck held the top spot at the gym at the University of Central Florida, and his nights were spent at Lazy Moon, his favorite pizza joint, where a growler of PBR and a slice of pizza was $6.
And Psyduck was king.
Yes. Life was bliss, and the human race lived in harmony, catching Pokemon together. Life was simple. It was the good old days. But fast forward to today, though, and Pokemon Go fans are super angry.
I'm super pumped on this, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't know what's going on with Pokemon Go?
Mildly.
It might be in the rear view mirror for me because I don't really play it that much anymore, but for a lot of people, it is still a very popular game. And in 2020, Niantic announced remote raids to deal with the pandemic. Due to COVID, players were allowed to participate in raids from greater distances. This is obviously convenient because you don't really have to go anywhere. And for people living in rural areas...
It's in the title.
Yeah. People
Pokemon almost.
Pokemon
if you want to
get off the couch. Pokemon go to your kitchen.
Yeah. I play that game.
I would too.
Niantic is increasing the price for remote raids and limiting the amount of times that you can participate in said raids.
They're essentially like doubling the cost to do stuff.
Yes. And this is pissing a lot of people off.
You mean there's no more Bulbasaurs in my bathroom?
Not anymore, man. Those days are over.
He's not hanging out in my toilet?
Bulbasaurs in my bathroom would be a great children's book written by Dylan.
Everybody Bulbasaurs.
Everybody Bulbasaurs.
Honestly, yeah, I would write it.
Everybody Bulbasaurs.
Niantic will say that the recent price increase is... They've said it's a way to try and recapture the magic that the game had.
By making people pay more money, it'll be more magical.
It's saying they want people to go outside and play it again like we did before the pandemic and all that. But all they want to do is make more money. They can church it up however they want. It's just about the dollar sign.
Yeah.
The changes will go into effect on April 6th. Like I said, they're increasing the price of the remote raids and limiting the amount of times per day that you can participate in a remote raid, which means if you want to play the game, not only are you going to have to pay more, you are going to have to leave the house at some point because the game straight up will not let you.
How do you feel about that?
We know you all love our game and you're very loyal.
You know what's weird? You know what's weird? I had a continent-spanning adventure on my Switch with the new Pokemon game, and I didn't have to fucking sit up.
Yeah, that's the way I'd go if I was going to play Pokemon. I'm not a big Pokemon Go fan anymore.
Well, I mean, like, everyone was into it, and I tried it for literally 5 minutes and said, oh, no, this is not for me. And I went away with it. I was just like, no, this will never be who I am.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of this. Like, the data is not going to save. If it's not on a console, if it's not on, like, an SD card, I don't give a shit because... all of these mobile games, they can just delete them whenever they want, and then all of your progress is going to be gone anyway. So I'm like, if I don't have I can put my memory card from the PlayStation 1 in, and you can see that I basically almost 100%ed Final Fantasy 8.
I can finish Dylan sentences sometimes.
but with like this, it's like once they decide that the app is gone or that they want to remove stuff, they'll change everything, and then you have no choice.
Yeah.
You have to, you play by their rules.
Niantic's Pokemon Go VP Ed Wu said that remote raids were allowing people to circumvent other mechanics and transactions within the game to a point where it was becoming unsustainable for the game's future, hence the changes. After he said that, fans were like, fuck you, and then they started to organize a strike.
I like strikes.
I like strikes too.
France is doing it right.
France strikes hard.
Oh, I want to go there. Did you see
They're dumping garbage in front of politicians' houses. Like they're having garbage trucks go there.
They're building cement walls in front of politicians' workplaces.
I want to be fringe so bad.
They had a giant bonfire in the street, and after they got sprayed with a fire hose, they were using the giant bonfire to dry their clothes while they just stared at the police officers. And I was like, that is so fucking G.
So fucking dope.
And it's almost getting no coverage in America because they don't want us to realize we're being horribly exploited and could rise up.
CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all of them. They all won't cover it.
The only thing that they would cover is like, yeah, there's something happening. It sounds stupid, right?
And they will literally be like,
please don't rise
pull
up.
on their collar. Yeah, I know. It's fucking awesome. Well, this is good too because like boycotting a game that's this big, while I do kind of think this goes the route of Hogwarts Legacy to a certain degree.
They might be drawing more attention to Pokemon Go.
Yeah, maybe because some people haven't heard about it in a while.
I don't think anyone will see like they're raising prices and like this. Oh, I want to play it again. If anything, they are alienating their hardcores, and if they all quit, this will have a negative effect. It's kind of like what's with Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. The fact that they delayed that game and they're definitely doing something to try and fix it up. These things can have an effect. Although I'm sure that Pokemon and Niantic, they made a decision and they knew that there would be repercussions, and they probably know that bottom line, the people that will stick around will spend more money, and it's going to
be the people in the cities and in more populated areas. Looking on Reddit, a lot of the people who are really gung-ho about the strike are the people who live in the middle of fucking nowhere where there's no gyms and there's no Pokestops.
So what are you going to do?
So what's the point in playing the game? Mm-hmm. Remote raids allowed those people to play with the people in the city, so they're going to lose those people. But
I'm just a simple farm boy.
I just out here on the field.
But also,
I used to catch Bulbasaurs on my tractor.
I do question these essentially like social aspect games when I start to think about people living in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, this would be a way to connect with people. Rural life is dying. This is something that's going to happen.
We're going big.
No, we're going big. Rural life is dying. And we're cityifying basically our entire states. This is the future. This is something you can't avoid.
Starbucking it.
Yeah,
Starbucking.
We're Starbucking.
That's a term from World's End. All the bars that start looking the same when they go back, it's like Starbucking, man.
Oh my god, I haven't watched
Patty
that
Considine
movie in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's a very good film.
Yeah,
well,
dude, there's a lot of subtext in that film.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again.
But I disagree with the idea that they should have to cater to anyone specifically.
You know what they should do is remote raids are going to be more restricted. There's only like one a day you can do, and you can't pay money to do more. If they didn't have like the money like pay to do it, if they're just like we're turning the faucet down a little bit, we want to try and get people back out there. But the fact that they put if you want to do it, pay money, that's where it becomes gross.
Yeah.
If they want to encourage social aspects, just change the way it works and don't make people pay money for it. Yeah. That's bad. But
yeah, so Pokemon Go is gonna be under a little heat for a little bit.
Pokemon went.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Dylan's back. He's like, Brad has got it today.
We already talked about Resident Evil.
He is getting a noose.
We already talked about Resident Evil 4. Just going to throw some numbers at you guys because it's pretty cool. Resident Evil 4.
Eagle. It's about an eagle that moves into the city. Hi, I'm Resident Eagle. Attorney at law.
Town.
Get out of my attic.
Rangers' rights. It reminds me of
I have rights.
That reminds me of Peacemaker when she's like, "Is your eagle friendly?" And then it tries to bite her, and he's like, "Oh, I meant to me." Resident Evil 4 remake sold 3 million units in 2 days.
Yes, it did.
For perspective, Resident Evil 2 shipped 3 million in its first week. Resident Evil 3 shipped 3.9 million in a year and a half.
Resident Evil 3 is not a popular game to begin with.
Well, it wasn't worth the value.
No.
If they sold it as like a $20 game when it came out, I would understand.
I got it on sale. But here's the thing. If you're going to pay, because right now I paid $60 for Resident Evil 4. It is not a $70 title as of this moment. But
is it a $60 title?
It is a $60 title.
You think it's worth $60?
I think it's worth $60.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely worth $60. I paid $70 for Dead Space Remake.
Worth it.
Which is still worth it. but I still think that Resident Evil 4 is a better game than the Dead Space remake. So you have to wonder actually what's going on, because this is not an Xbox One Series X like combo thing. It is just for the Series X. There is no Xbox One version of this video game. So I was literally just like, I was expecting a higher. I'm like, this fucking, I left the place and I'm like, this fucking sucker. I got that Target employee so bad. I paid $10 less.
And they're like, was that kid old enough?
I said, I don't know if I am.
He's 19.
But I was literally just like, man, I thought I was going to pay $70. Like I paid for a bunch of other stuff too, like soda for me to drink while I played the game, and like beef jerky, because
you are still an Xbox 360 gamer.
I know. I swear to God, I was just like, I want spicy beef jerky. I want to play my game. I don't want anyone to bother me.
But sales are good. You're saying?
Yes. I knew it was going to do good. Didn't really think it was going to do that good. I'm
not surprised.
Personally, a little surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. It's Resident Evil 4. It's a game that people salivate for nonstop since it came out originally. And yes, they can slap a new sticker like remastered on that puppy every day and someone will buy it.
Brad, I kind of want to punish you and make you play through the first one in order to comprehensively get the understanding.
I would play it on the Wii then, where the different controls for aiming.
Oh, that is like $300.
Yeah, but I got Gummy Bears Mini Golf for the Wii. Can we play that instead?
Sure, if we take turns, because it's one player.
I know.
Spaceships,
magic swords,
intergalactic empires,
dead gods,
and creatures from beyond the moon.
What mad universe could contain all these fantastic visions?
What Mad Universe is a bi-weekly podcast
Delving into the misty origins of sci-fi and fantasy, pop culture and genre tropes.
Take a cosmic trip on What Mad Universe podcast, now on the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network.
Today's show is brought to you by EPOS Gaming Audio, with a comprehensive lineup of both wired and wireless headsets, gaming amplifiers, microphones, and webcams. EPOS has everything you need to experience the power of audio. Like their H6 Pro lineup, which features two versions, an open or closed headset. The closed headset allows you to tap into exceptionally detailed audio and seals out ambient noise, while the open version delivers natural high-fidelity audio with an incredible soundstage. Both headsets include a magnetic detachable microphone and a sleek design that has no wild RGB configurations, just good design. Listeners can save 15% by visiting www.eposaudio.com/gaming and entering code EPOSFRIEND15 at checkout. That is EPOSFRIEND15 at checkout.
Good. Those are some good numbers. Here's some bad numbers. PlayStation VR 2 is off to a very, very rocky start.
Are we into the console section? What was it? The console critters?
The console critters.
Console critters, console critters, we're in the house.
Did you guys rehearse that before I got here?
No.
I did. I knew Dylan would do that though, so I was ready. Dylan's very predictable.
We've been doing this a couple more
There's
years.
one thing I know. Dylan will be funny and say things I'm questioning.
Yeah. So
always funny though.
Let's do this. Spartacus here. That was the name I chose because PlayStation abandoned
He's Spartacus. I'm not Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus. PlayStation.
No,
VR.
Spartacus plus premium.
Yes. Very important to get my full surname
Deluxe.
correct.
Deluxe edition remastered.
There we go.
With free gamer fuel. No, that's Xbox.
No.
Xbox
No gamer fuel. PSVR 2 is off to a rocky start. It's reported that Sony is only expected to move 270,000 units by the end of March.
That's not good.
That's not good, especially since Bloomberg reported that Sony expected to move 2 million by the end of March.
Nope.
Turns out if you sell something for $600, it's not going to move as fast.
More than the console you sold it on.
And
Was it 600 or 700? It's fucking a lot. It's a lot.
600.
Is it
And
600?
I believe it's 600.
Yeah.
you can get a PlayStation 5 on Amazon right now. They are on there. You can buy it, and as long as the
Yes,
porch,
you can.
As long as the porch pirate doesn't raid your porch,
That is my only. Well, my wife said she would maybe get a PlayStation with me,
There we go. Yeah, you should totally do that.
but we'll have to be there, and I'm gonna have a rifle scoped out of my house.
So I feel like the PlayStation VR 2 is not going to do too hot, seeing as though a lot of people still don't have their hands on a PlayStation 5 if they really want one. Until recently have they been readily available. So not only do you have to buy the already expensive console, you need to buy the even more expensive, still wired, and I cannot stress that enough, still wired VR.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Granted, it's one cable now, but still that sucks.
I don't care about the number of cables. 1 cable and 3 cables are still cables.
It's so my question here is if they had a battery in there and they expected it to last a while.
It's not about the power source. I think it's about transmitting that high definition like video to like both eyes, because you have to like do double power.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just it's all of it working in conjunction. And I know I've heard it's great, but I'm not gonna buy that shit until it's cheaper or they figure it out.
Well, they're gonna drop it down immensely. This also is not good for any developer working on this right now. It is not a good sign for anyone who wants to invest in making VR technology.
The VR for the one wasn't doing well. It was more like barely doing what it wanted.
They would pump money into it. Like you remember, like EA would get like stipends from Sony essentially to basically like,
Please.
hey, make this for this as well.
Yeah.
And you'll get a better cut.
It was like Gamecom paying Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like, just make it. We'll give you money. We don't care.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
There has been a leak. Don't know how much you can really trust it about the PlayStation and its lifespan. Its lifespan is rumored to be about 7 years before the next PlayStation 6 comes out.
Okay.
But in that whole heap of leak, it has been...
Heap of Leak,
which is, that's a cool band name.
Xbox.
PlayStation 5 Pro is in development and could drop as early as the end of 2024. Which
I'll just wait.
It makes sense. As soon as everybody has access to the PS5,
drop a bigger one.
It won't look like turd.
No, they're making it bigger.
I like it even more.
For some reason,
I just want a monolith.
they added more curves.
It's the size of a door.
We took what
It's like, whoa.
Look at this puppy over here. This is like
we took what worked in the original PlayStation 5 design and we looked at early 2000s routers and we were like, how can we make this look even better?
Did you hear how it hums?
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a jet engine anymore. It hums like a Jaguar.
Dylan says many funny things to me all the time. But one time we were leaving a beer festival or like an outdoor drinking festival, and he walked up to like a Tesla. He's like, wow, the PS5 is smaller than I thought it would be, is what he said. No, I lost it. That was the funniest thing I heard from you in a long time. It's smaller than I thought it would be. It was a fucking car.
I'm gold 60% of the time, which
Every
is a
time.
passing grade for me.
Other Sony PlayStation news, there's still button heads with Microsoft about the whole fucking...
Chad Xbox here. Fuck Sony.
Yeah. That is still going on. I didn't really feel like covering it because I'm sick of listening to that. So I'm going to hand it off to Chad Xbox.
I'm ready for you. Update on the...
Hey, by the way, fuck you.
Fuck you. Update on the Sony Xbox Activision squabbles. Sony made a document saying they believe that Microsoft would release Call of Duty versions for the PlayStation that would be buggy and they wouldn't like perform as well and it would negatively impact the PlayStation. Microsoft has spent the last 12 months trying to buy Activision Blizzard for $69 million. Sony buys companies all the time. It's like, this is just the way things work. It's not a surprise. But for some reason, they want to buy Activision Blizzard, and Sony's like, this isn't fair. This is going to ruin competition. Yeah. And so it was, Sony released an argument saying they believe that Xbox and Microsoft would purposely make the games for the PlayStation much worse, and it would be harmful to them.
There's no precedent for that.
And Microsoft and Activision across the board have always been like, we promise to make games for you. Please just sign this. We want to work with you. Like, it's beneficial to both of us. And
well, the way they've worked with Nintendo already, like Cuphead, Ori, like they want to release their stuff on everything because it only benefits them to have more proliferation.
And Call of Duty, they want it multi-console because that is just a multi-console game. And they're like, we're putting it on fucking Nintendo. Like, we promise it'll be on the Switch.
That to me seems like a slight, though.
No,
because there's no way that the Switch is going to be handling any of these games.
They said that they're going to make it work.
They said it's going to be cloud.
It's a way to get PlayStation to sign off on it.
No, it's literally going to be cloud gaming, because look at like the more higher profile games that are coming to the Switch now. They're all cloud featured.
Kingdom Hearts works great for the Switch. That was a joke.
Did you play the cloud version?
No, it was a joke. They're horrible because it's cloud versions and nothing works right.
Yes.
There's actually new glitches for speedrunners because they perform so poorly that they can exploit things.
No shit.
Which is fun. But Activision released a statement saying, we are very disappointed in Sony for ever saying we would release a subpar product for them. Despite that, we're going to rely on our 30 years of business relationships and just still make games for them. Activision just did like a real like, wow, that was pretty low and fuck you, but we're going to be friends still about it. And recently, U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell from Washington.
Great.
There's been trade talks between Japan and America, like big national policy stuff. And Maria Cantwell from Washington brought up that Sony and Xbox, she said that Japan has been allowing Sony to behave in blatant anti-competitive conduct through exclusive deals and payments to game publishers. Japan has been going out of their way to make sure Sony does way better over there. And she's like, this shit's super sketchy.
It's purely nationalistic.
And when it comes down to for me is like Sony can't have their cake and eat it too. Like that's what they want.
Well, they're failing. Here's the thing: Sony is a dive bombing company right now because their TVs aren't selling because they're overpriced. Everything they make is pretty much overpriced, and they can't compare to even knockoffs or anything else. Like I would love to have a Sony TV, because Sony TVs are actually some of the highest tech, best ones you can get.
But I got an LG because I'm a baller on a budget.
And Sony,
I've got an Insignia.
Well, and this is what this is rather than adapt, they are slowly killing themselves.
By being isolationists, they're ruining themselves, which is the problem America's having.
And they'll be fine. Sony will be fine no matter what. They have their God of Wars and they have their other games that like are exclusive enough.
Have you seen their profits reports?
It hasn't been as good lately.
No, they're not great.
The PSVR 2 was incredibly expensive to make, and they were counting on $2 million in a month, and they didn't even crack $500,000.
Absolutely.
I have only a couple other little news things before I talk about Game Pass, but a galaxy even farther away. Starfield has been delayed to September 6th. Previously scheduled to arrive November 11th of last year, and then it was delayed to the first half of this year. It's been delayed one more time to November 11th. Todd Howard did promise...
November 11th?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess
that's cool. Skyrim's release date.
That's
11/11/11.
I'm fine with that. It gives me more time to save up and buy an Xbox.
Also...
Yeah, man.
Maybe Bethesda has learned don't release buggy messes, or maybe they have to get it to the point of being a buggy mess before they can release it.
So I think the problem actually stems from the fact that they've really only paid attention to Microsoft at this point.
Yeah. I will talk about the next one for sure. The Xbox Series S is toast. That's right. Forget the Xbox Series X fridge. We are getting an Xbox Series S toaster. They are going to be releasing a toaster that looks like a Series S. It's available for pre-order in France. Unsure if it's coming to America.
You telling me I can play Skyrim on my refrigerator?
No,
my toaster.
We got the fridge here, but I will not get the toaster. I have standards. That's something. And my other small news thing.
I'd be worried about it overheating.
You bought the Addams Family. You bought the Addams Family Values board game.
Addams Family Reunion board game.
Values. It's the
Reunion.
movie. No, it's Addams Family.
The board game is called Reunion. So
really,
yeah,
that sucks.
The Xbox, an Xbox console exclusive, won the BAFTA Best Game Award, beating out Elden Ring, God of War, and everything else as Vampire Survivors.
Woo!
Oh, I saw that it just didn't it get some DLC or something.
I don't know.
It's always getting deals.
But it won Best Game Award at BAFTA, which was baffling to many people. It's a great game.
I watched Brad play it.
To see it,
it deserves it.
I get it.
To say it
deserves it.
Games with gold for this month. We have Out of Space Couch Edition, local co-op game about living together in a house in space. The point of the game is to clean up your house because the dirt and the goo that's accumulating is aliens. So you and your friends have to work together to clean a house in space. Also, we have Peaky Blinders Mastermind, an isometric puzzle game, which has not reviewed well, and it's supposedly very slow to start.
Oh, wow.
Being removed from Game Pass this month, we have Recompile, Besiege, Crossfire X, School, the Hero Slayer, The Last Kids on Earth, and the Staff of Doom, and Infirmax. That was removed this month, and leaving April 15th is The Long Dark Quantum Break, NHL 2021, Life is Strange, and Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh, Life is Strange is leaving.
As far as what's been added recently, we have Sid Meier's Civilization 6, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom,
Great game.
and then 2 games I did want to give a special shout out to. Infinite Guitars, which is a role-playing rhythm game. Looked very interesting from what I looked at. I haven't played it, but
do you role play as a rock star?
I don't know. But
Can
it's
I
got
overdose on cocaine?
you can do whatever you want with your life, but it's just be here on Sundays to record.
Okay. Can I get a face tattoo?
This is an audio podcast.
What is it of?
Whoa, if I really wanted to, I would just be like my brother and get that haircut because we talked about, you got to cut that.
No, that's something that gets to stay in. He got a River West hipster haircut.
Oh, no. A Nazi one?
He looks great. I was going to, no, not a Nazi. It took me a second to catch up to that.
I also wanted to do a shout out to Way to the Woods. It's an indie game made by a 16-year-old boy. Third-person adventure game where you play a deer. The thing I saw in the trailer was you headbutting a vending machine to give a bag of chips to your fawn, and it looked atmospheric and cool. I don't know much about it.
That seems fun.
What's coming by the end of April? Ghostwire Tokyo, Everspace 2, Minecraft Legends, Coffee Talk Episode 2, and The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Okay.
Justin, I love your haircut. Happy birthday.
And this has been Chad.
Justin, I haven't seen it, but I know.
Now, this is my favorite part of the episode where, Dylan, did you do any research for Ninfrendo?
Here, I'll tell you what. There's not a lot going on besides the Eiji Onuma playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom.
Boo, 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 boo. Weapons getting fused together.
Weapons getting fused. Here is
I
where
like that shit.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
The creativity that has to go into something like this is insane.
You're a fan?
I'm a huge
because they're going to have the
fan.
same amount of weapons, and then all of those weapons need to get mixed together, which all of a sudden becomes like 20,000 different kinds of weapons.
It's also objects.
Yeah.
So you can
it's
put
a rock and a
boulder
stick.
on, and then you can be just like, hey, this will go with this. And also there's more verticality.
When they
within the
attach a
game.
leaf to something, I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, there's a chainsaw where someone put like 15 kokori leaves onto, and then now it's just a chainsaw with kokori leaves.
That's awesome. I did see that people were a little upset that it looks too much like Breath of the Wild, or that it doesn't look like it expanded enough. Outside of
if the game is better, I don't care. My whole entire part of why I didn't like Breath of the Wild is I felt like that it was incomplete. Like there were spaces within it that needed more kind of like elaboration, that needed a little bit more, because it didn't also feel like a Zelda game. If they give me a few dungeons, if they give me a few more, like Divine Beasts were dungeons in the first Breath, like the Breath of the Wild. And I liked that, but they were also kind of obtuse. Do you remember doing the elephant one where you had you have to aim the trunk over to spin gears?
Yeah.
In order to make something happen for you to go through to finally enter the last part of it. That part of it is fine. I like that aspect of it, and I like the physics-based part of it. Now it seems like they're actually leaning into all physics. They're leaning into like time manipulation and physics, and suddenly I'm interested.
It was a very good like mini showcase of the gameplay.
I thought it was great.
I like that they also conceded. They're like, this is the same map, but it's got a lot of differences. I'm like, all right, so this cave is now got some new enemies or something.
That's the part I hate. I don't want to explore the same places I've been.
If it is, to me, I'm like, if it's gonna be mostly the same map, then it's an expansion. It could be a great expansion to a game, but if it's like reusing most of the map, we'll see how much they change it. But I also have faith in Nintendo, and the weapon thing is very exciting.
I have a theory and this is more of a lore-based theory, I have a feeling that the world will essentially, through magic, get pushed up.
Uprooted.
Uprooted and pushed into the sky, like in Skyward Sword.
I like what they showed. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Actually, keep going.
I like, they're like, but how do I get up there? And that new thing where you can reverse an object's momentum to do anything. That's a fun possible new Sheikah technique, whatever they call it.
I agree. I watched a video. Jake Baldino with Gamer Ranks talked about it.
Is that Kotaku? Sorry,
no.
Come on, don't tease him about that now.
He wasn't really shocked to see that it might be the same map with just built on top of.
Yeah.
And I'm in kind of the same boat. I didn't think they were going to reinvent the wheel with something that worked so well. I could see them expanding upon it.
My hatred of it is literally a same map. Even with other Legend of Zeldas, the maps, even if they included like Kokiri Town and like Hyrule Castle and like the Zora's Domain, you would still have like new places to explore because they would all technically look different.
You know what I want with this is Pokemon, where you're in a new map in Pokemon Gold and Silver. At the very end of the game, like, plus also here is all of the other map. If you want to go fuck around, that'd be fun.
That's what I want, and I also want to have a motorcycle.
Imagine that as a Well,
that's like what Red Dead Redemption 2 did. Once you get to the end of the story, then they open up the original game map, but there's no Mexico. But it's just the ghost town. There's nothing to do there.
I like that shit.
Because it could have been awesome. They abandoned it. Yeah.
They should have done Red Dead.
I do have a question for our Nintendo.
Okay.
So the day this episode gets released,
yes,
is the day the Mario Brothers movie comes out.
Yes.
So I want Dylan's review of the Mario Brothers movie before seeing it. I want you to say exactly what you think you would have said when you walked out.
Okay, I'll do that. It's going to be full of fan service, like chock-a-block. It's going to have Chris Pratt, who everyone is going to find amenable and charming enough. It's going to take place in Brooklyn starting out, and then they're going to be transported to the Mushroom Kingdom. And then it's literally just going to be him kind of walking through his history for the most part. I think the Donkey Kong segment is, based off the trailer, just going to be an arena type thing where he's throwing barrels at him.
More like he has to convince this group of people to work together against him, but you have to go through this stuff. I mean, the fact that Cranky Kong was announced in the game, I was like, that's not something I expected right away.
I think that there's going to be a lot more Rosalina than we think.
Is Rosalina in the game? Or in the movie, I should say?
I believe she's going
I don't think she's been announced,
I believe the Lumas are, though.
Yeah.
I did see a clip from the movie, and Mario does do his classic voice, the wow.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah. Well, I didn't hear Chris. I doubt Chris Pratt did it.
He did it.
There's no way.
No, he did.
No, he did.
Would have. Yeah.
Chris Pratt is talented. Despite all of our knocking on him.
He's just in everything.
I actually think that this movie's going to be good.
I agree with you. And I think Jack Black as Bowser is going to steal the show.
Have you seen him on the Kelly Clarkson show?
That was hilarious.
He posted
where he's dressed as Bowser.
This morning on Instagram, he posted of him with Shigeru Miyamoto. And it's just like, you can tell Jack Black is fanboying out so hard because he is a fan.
Yeah.
And Seth Rogen.
He is such a good Bowser, too. Like, even in like that first teaser, he's still doing it so good.
He nails it. And
he nails it.
I'm strangely excited for Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong. I think that's going to wind up working more than I want it to.
Well, there's already a spinoff in development.
But when will the Smash Brothers movie start?
The
Smash Brothers Initiative.
It's going to be like the Hunger Games, but with Nintendo people.
I'm in.
Yeah.
If Kirby gets its own movie, I will be there.
If Kirby's in this movie, I will fucking flip my gourd. And I'm not like
Kirby, voiced by Miley Cyrus.
Hey, y'all.
I'm Kirby.
And it's just Morgan Wallen, and they pitch the vocals out there.
I think this movie is going to do bonkers business. The fact that they pushed it up means they're so confident in it that
kids and adults, everybody.
It's got fucking Mario Kart in it for, from what I understand, about 15% of the movie.
And They brought the penguins from Mario 64 back, which that's a specific thing that everyone's like, fuck yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
They're going to cater to everyone who loves Mario in different ways.
I can't wait to see Chris Pratt throw that little penguin off the cliff.
I am annoyed with Chris Pratt being partially Italian than not, because he says "let's-a go," but he goes like "let's-a go."
Let's eat.
It's like Pedro Pascal and his SNL skit.
That's very good. That's very good.
That's the part that hurts me a little bit. I think this movie's going to do well, and I actually think I'm going to like it because also I'm a fucking almost 33-year-old guy, and I don't have the energy to care about whether or not this does well or does not do well. Like, I don't. And for me, it seems like this isn't for me, probably. So even if I don't like it, I'll probably be like, yeah, well, at least they're still going to make Mario games, because this only ensures that more Mario games are going to be made forever and ever until the end of time.
I will watch this in theaters, which is the biggest thing I can do.
Do you guys want to make a pact to see it together?
Yeah,
Wednesday at 6:30 at the Avalon?
I am off Wednesday night.
Wednesday, 6:30 at the Avalon. That's it?
Well, yeah, that's when it's coming.
If you get me a ticket, I'll do it. I'll pay
3D.
Hell
love
yeah,
that.
let's go.
Okay.
Or should I say, let's go.
This Wednesday.
Let's go.
We're doing
good.
it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see the fucking movie.
I did have one little piece of Nintendo news that I found was hilarious before
How
we move
dare
on.
you.
If you're done with your Nintendo.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
Joe Burrow, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals,
Yeah.
one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I think most people would put him in top 10.
Sure.
He was doing a press conference, and they were like, when you're flying to a game, are you watching tape? Are you relaxing? Like,
He's
what are you
playing
doing?
the Switch.
He says, by that point, my film study's already done, so I'm probably playing Super Smash Bros. And he said Super Smash Bros. Constantly throughout the press conference, and then he dropped, I'm a NES man. And nobody knew what he was talking about.
Woo!
Not a single reporter said anything. And then he was like, yeah, not a lot of nerds in here. Joe Burrow might have just became my new favorite quarterback.
Joe Burrow, we're with you. I remember the first time that Eddie Lacy, when he was playing for the Packers, and he was talking about Dragon Ball Z on some of his like press
Yeah,
stuff.
I
I was like,
remember that. Yeah.
I'm in. Yeah. Who's the fuck is this guy? I love him.
Oh my god.
No, I'm a NES man.
No, Ness is my main.
You know what that means,
You
though?
and Joe Burrow would be best friends.
You know what that means? That Joe Burrow has been playing so much Smash, he can't help but talk about it in situations where he might not want to be talking about it. And I love that.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's so good.
I thought you guys would appreciate
I'm
that.
a NES man.
I'm a Ness man.
There's a clip of it. You can watch it. It's on Instagram. And so, yeah, we joked in the Discord recently about doing an episode on Fred Durst in video games. And I thought that was hilarious. Shortly after that, I saw an article on Reddit published by Impact, written by Daria Paderek. You got to give her a lot of credit because she was kind of the inspiration for the idea of the episode.
Wonderful.
It's as if the stars have aligned because today's episode is a discussion on celebrities in video games.
The best in the Durst.
The best in the Durst. Before I even clicked the article, though, the first game that came to mind was Beyond Two Souls for me. It was the first game that I thought of because it was the first time
With Elliot Page
and Willem Dafoe.
So now we're talking about celebrity appearances in gaming. Are we talking about them, their likenesses, their performances, their voice acting, or just like this is this person? Like it is Fred Durst in the game.
We are going to get into some of the weirder
I just
actual.
want to like talk about like what we're all like because there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, that was the problem with doing this episode is it went in a lot of different directions. So what I thought we could do is at the very beginning, we'll just kind of discuss some of our notable favorites and, kind of look back at when's the first time you realized likeness was being used in games. But then after that, I just want to focus on performances.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be the likeness
Right.
after this first little bit. So for me, it was Willem Dafoe and Elliot Page and Beyond Two Souls because I was like, holy shit.
That's like a 2013, 2014 game.
Which is when I was in film school. And me and my buddies used to get super high all the time and be like, what if they put actors in the games? And then it was just a movie. Little did we know we were foreshadowing the future of video games.
So to me, there's a couple different sides for how you could go about it. So there is sports games, which grabs like this is
I don't think that counts.
I just want to mention
Yeah.
like this is Mike Tyson's Punch Out. To me, that's not like a guest appearance. That is, well, I mean, they're using Mike Tyson to sell the game.
You mean Mr. Dream?
Mr. Dream. But conversely, something that I think needs to be mentioned is Michael Jordan's Chaos in the Windy City, or Shaq Fu, where there's a game built around them being in it, but it's not to sell a sports game. Michael Jordan had a side-scrolling action video game for the Super Nintendo where he attacks with basketballs and he must save his teammates from a mad scientist, Maximus Cranium. Now, he's on pirate ships and spaceships. Like,
I love that.
Like, to me,
I love it.
That is different than we're selling a sports game. This is Billy Riker's Pro Fishing. Nope. This is Michael Jordan Goes to Space. And I would say
that, though.
I like this one. And Shaq Fu, while not being a great game,
Shaq Fu was fun. That's my entry into this, by the way. Okay. I loved Shaq Fu. Do
you have a black belt in Shaq Fu?
No. No, I loved Shaq Fu. Shaq Fu is like really dumb and interesting with weird characters, fun sprites, way more development than it should have for something that looks and plays the way that it does, because it's not good. It does not have the technicality that it needs to succeed. Like, whereas I'm playing Guilty Gear Strive right now, which, by the way, both of you, we're playing it together, and I'm going to destroy you.
Wow, this sounds fun.
It'll be great fun
for you.
Well, I mean, like, if you can beat May, my main protagonist,
how old is she?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh.
I literally don't know. Stop that. She attacks with a whale.
Also, is Ronald McDonald a celebrity guest appearance? Because that dude shows up in some games.
The hard part was...
Dude, are you in love with Ronald McDonald?
No, I watched a panel at MGC yesterday about food mascots, and they've talked about... Ronald McDonald was a different character in the 70s. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, wasn't he
horny.
like...
It was more HR Puffin stuff than it was corporate chill.
Didn't he run like a contracting business, and then he killed a bunch of like teenage boys and stuff and hit him in his crawl space?
You're thinking of Gacy.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Which of the McDonald Land characters are each of us?
Well, we know that you're Seamus O'Grimacy.
I am Seamus O'Grimacy.
I was literally the Hamburglar.
You are not.
He was the hamburger. He was just the hamburger.
You're not the Hamburglar. I hate to say
literally
you give off no
was
energy.
when I worked at McDonald's, because I was the only one who could fit in the mascot costume. And when High Rollers came through for those birthday parties,
but do you have
me and Grimace had to suit up. I also was Grimace once. I was Grimace for a birthday party when I worked at McDonald's.
No, you know what I'm getting is Mayor McCheese vibes off of Tyler.
When I was Grimace,
Mayor McCheese?
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's got mayor energy.
When I was Grimace, a little girl ran up to me and said, "Hi, Grimace." And I was not allowed to talk. They explicitly said, "Do not talk." So I just waved at her. And do you know what she did? This is a true ass story.
Punched you in the nuts?
Punched me directly in the balls. Dead ass serious. I was 15 years old working at McDonald's in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and I got punched in the nuts.
Oh no!
By a 6-year-old.
Wait a minute. So
and I did not break character. Instead, I limped back to the back and got to the break room, took my helmet off.
I did not break character.
I did. I went, oh, and then I quickly left. The Hamburglar's looking at me like, "What's going on?" My buddy Caleb, I'm leaving him alone in the trenches taking grenades here.
No.
Yeah. I had to go back and I had to take a breather. She hit me hard, and I did not expect it. And
there's no padding there?
There's no padding.
McCheese, what we got next?
No, I went and sat in the back, and I told my manager, Paul, I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this again. And I did not do it again. He gave me a pass. Moving on, though.
Okay.
I brought up Beyond Two Souls. The article actually points to that game first because the game received some critical acclaim, and it started to blur the lines between movies and games, which was kind of foreshadowing.
Blur the lines between Grimace and Tyler.
A David Cage production, from my understanding.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the guy who did Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain was fantastic.
And also did Detroit Become Human.
Yes. So what are some of your guys' first memories of an actor or realizing that you know the performer in the role of a game?
Well, I would let Brad go first because I literally said mine was Shaq Fu, and I'm like, Shaq. Wow.
Well, and it's like, yeah, if you want to count like your Shaq Fu's or your Michael Jackson's Moonwalker was another one that I was like notable. As far as games that I remember being aware of, like True Crime, Streets of LA, having Snoop Dogg was something that I noticed, and it was like a selling point. I also don't know how much you would count, like, Vice City Stories had Phil Collins, and he didn't play himself, but he played himself.
Yeah.
And there was a fair amount of that. Brutal Legend had Ozzy Osbourne, not himself, but himself. And it's that fuzzy line of, is it the celebrity or not? Because they're clearly just playing a caricature of who they are.
I think I actively avoided these types of games. I think I was like a little snobby as a kid, and I'll put that out there. But I was like, well, I don't need like Tony Hawk could be like a big example of a celebrity in a video game. That might actually be my first introduction to all of this, really.
I was just thinking about Tony Hawk.
Well, Tony Hawk he's a real guy.
No, but
did you guys know that?
No, what I was thinking is those games had cameo guest appearances like Darth Maul and Wolverine.
Yeah, and Spider-Man too.
And I was like, that's kind of a celebrity guest appearance to me. It's in a weird way.
And then you get the Tony Hawk Underground, you start involving the Jackass cast, and then it's like this.
Do you count Hillary Clinton being an NBA Jam like Bill Clinton?
There's so many. Like, where do you draw the line? And I drew the line. I am not counting any
Bill Clinton
professional sports players. Like, it would be dumb to sit here and talk about all the iterations of LeBron James and NBA 2K.
Shaq Fu is more interesting because it's a fighting game, rather than a game where you're doing basketball.
And Chaos in the Windy City, Michael Jordan uses basketballs as weapons, and he fights on pirate ships. I just saw what was happening, and I said, I want to know the lore of this game. I want to know what the fuck is going on.
I don't think there was.
How many basketballs can you carry? And he's just out there like palming a basketball and like hitting people with it.
Well, he's getting it back. Like it's like a teleporting basketball.
I don't know.
Does he call it back like Thor's hammer? That'd be awesome. So it's not news to anyone that using actors' likeness is a common trend in games lately. It almost seemed like a natural trajectory at a certain point. If you watch behind the scenes in The Last of Us Part 1, Ashley Johnson as Ellie and Troy Baker as Joel act out their performances in mocap, and they fucking nail it. Watching them work behind the scenes.
It's all the same, yeah.
Actors lending their likeness to games was a natural inevitability because they are trained performers.
Sonny Suljic as Loki / Atreus in God of War. Everyone essentially in the God of War games except for Christopher Judge because Kratos has his own image.
Yeah. So the two worlds were bound to bleed together at some point. And before we get into some of the weirder ones, what are your favorites? Performances in games? I have a few.
From celebrities?
Performers. It could be, we're drawing a pretty wide scope here. For me, Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk 2077, because it's a game that I had recently been playing.
/ Hideo Kojima in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
I love Kiefer in Metal Gear Solid 5.
He was on my list too.
Frankly, like the funny part about it is that, can I spoil Metal Gear Solid 5 now?
I would say don't spoil it if you can, because I will play it eventually.
I know what you're getting at. Well, don't spoil it if he hasn't played it, because that's fucking awesome. I also will go with Jesse Williams in Detroit Become Human. Fantastic performance. And that's one where you're using the full likeness. And it's one of those games like The Quarry or Until Dawn, where it's like a procedural based, like, you're essentially playing a TV show.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson as Officer Tenpenny in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is one of my favorite performances.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's really good.
Because it's Samuel fucking Jackson, and he is so good.
That man will take a job no matter what.
And it's, he has one level, and it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, and I wasn't going to count a lot of the rappers and hip hop artists in the Def Jam Fight for New York or
that
Icon
doesn't
games.
Quite count.
There is one.
Yeah,
there is one in those games that is fantastic. And in Def Jam Fight for New York, which is one of the best games ever made, Crow is played by Snoop Dogg and is the villain. And you have the most badass fight scene at the end of the game to finally beat him. And it is one of my all-time favorite gaming moments. And I think it would be worse.
Still?
Yes. I was so hyped when I got there.
Oh, okay.
Without Snoop Dogg, that game's not the same. Without his performance in that part, it's not the same.
I also have to wonder because I'm even thinking like...
I would want to mention Death Stranding having some amazing celebrity guest appearances.
I knew one of you two would bring it up.
Not even just Norman Reedus. Like, it's one thing to have the poster boy, but to have Conan O'Brien and Jeff Keighley, and there's other smaller people like
Who plays Mama? I forget.
She is the girl from The Leftovers. I forgot her name. I'll look it up.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
And there's even some of the smaller roles. I forget the name, but it's like there's directors from foreign films that are in there that are like little.
Well, we got Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro, of course, is Dead Man.
Yeah.
Sarah Margaret Qualley.
But to me, the one that shines out the most is like a guest celebrity is Conan O'Brien, who
oh my god
is a comedy role because he wants to get cosplay items delivered because that's how he is enjoying his life in isolation.
That blew my mind when I got to him in the game because I had no idea he was going to be there. I'm like, is that Conan?
It's so funny that when you realize it is, and then because I remember on the Conan O'Brien show when Conan was talking about it, I thought it was a bit for the show. Like we put him in the game, and then he was there. It's like, no fucking way.
You sons of bitches.
I also have to give a huge up to the Yakuza games / like the Judgment games.
Yeah.
Because in fact, there's a huge dispute that the third Judgment game can't come out because they don't have the rights to the actor's face anymore.
Really?
Yes.
I could see that being a thing.
But that's huge in Japan. They have huge like conglomerates where their actors are so well controlled within the subset of what they're doing that like you can't just do it. It's the same way in Korea. It's also why they have a higher suicide rate. And
I know that was why Crisis Core was trapped in the PSP for as long as it was
because Angelus.
Yeah, and I think it was Angel.
Angel, yeah, he was based off of a Japanese pop star.
It was his likeness, and they didn't want to pay again for the likeness or couldn't afford it.
Yeah,
so that's why it got semi-trapped for a while. Yeah. Also, and that's why you don't use pop stars in Japan for your villains in Final Fantasy games.
I just don't get that either. But
K-pop is so hot right now, though. How do you not?
And there's one other game.
How do you feel about Blackpink?
I don't listen to K-pop. I just know that it's popular.
Whatever, it's fine.
Command and Conquer Red Alert 3.
Tim Curry.
Is not only Tim Curry. Do you know the entire cast? Ric Flair, David Hasselhoff, Gina Carano, Jenny McCarthy. We have Jonathan Pryce, who is the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones. We have J.K. Simmons, Peter Stormare, George Takei. They're all in that game.
God, they are high-ticket people now.
Wait, which game did you say?
Command and Conquer Red Alert 3.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Everyone knows Tim Curry because of the extremely iconic line.
I don't know if this will play the line, but...
Yeah, well...
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Yeah, so there's been some definitely odd ones. Tim Curry in Command and Conquer 3 I thought was hilarious because I found that clip. There's also Gary Coleman in Postal 2.
Yeah, that's an important one to notice because Gary Coleman plays a character called Gary Coleman who is a villain in the game, but it's not the same Gary Coleman as Gary Coleman.
It's not.
It's a different character who looks and sounds like him and has the same name.
But it was in the same list that I found. You can see him sitting. He's signing autographs, and they have a shitty little banner that says Gary Coleman. Looks like it was written by a 3-year-old.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
But yeah, he's signing autographs, and then he will get involved in the mayhem, like as you go postal. Like I saw clips of him with like a shotgun.
Yeah, I've seen it. He's like, oh, hell yeah. The Tim Curry thing kind of took me off into a tangent too, because it's the weird spot where they wanted to use actors, but they couldn't like mocap them and put them in the game physically. So what they did is they would just record like video and put it in the game. And Mark Hamill is in a game called Wing Commander 3: Heart of the Tiger.
Okay.
Yep.
It came out.
He's good.
Mark Hamill is always good.
Yeah.
I do have a clip so you guys can see what I'm talking about with the...
Turn it more. I need my man to see.
I can see it. I can see it fine.
May they rest in peace.
It looks like Tom.
It does look like Tom.
Oh, Jonathan Rhys Davies.
Yes, this another game that had.
He looks exactly like Tom.
Like Tom's little brother.
Should I ask Kate if she thinks that Luke Skywalker was attractive from the original series?
Well, that'd be like Tom when he was still on the farm. Because Tom was a moisture farmer in Watertown.
Hold on, I'm literally going to text
farmer?
her that.
Well, that's what Luke Skywalker was.
Oh.
I think we can't understate, of course, Kevin Spacey in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare being portrayed in the commercial, the trailer, as a selling point. Like,
yes,
not only do we have Call of Duty, but we have Kevin Spacey. And things that didn't age well, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Yes.
I would like... Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I want to make a unique call out here to Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin was in Mass Effect 3 as the ending monologue talking about what happened to mankind.
No shit.
Isn't that cool? I didn't know that
awesome.
was Buzz Aldrin as well. So the first man to walk on the moon was also the person who did the ending monologue for Mass Effect 3. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that.
The worst ending in one of video games history?
I have one other one besides the one that we're saving. And it's about a Final Fantasy game. And the celebrity guest appearance is Ariana Grande.
What?
Is
this Final Fantasy 14?
She made a special appearance in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Oh, no.
The mobile game featuring Ariana Grande. Her likeness was used for multiple models, and she even signed a thing like, I love what Square Enix does, Ariana Grande. And her likeness was used for many characters in the game and used to sell the game.
I did stumble across another weird one. Who is familiar with Mark Wahlberg?
Say hi to your mother for me, okay?
I'll tell you this much. I like Hot Pot.
How's your mother doing? Okay, great. You're a duck?
Marky Mark had a rap career in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
And
did he?
The rhythm and the rhyme.
yeah, Marky Mark Make My Video was a 1992 video game where you make your own music video that had clips of Marky Mark with a bunch of ladies, and it looks terrible.
Did you play it?
No, I found it, and now I need to play it because I'm going to make the worst music video ever. And I would be upset if we didn't talk about it because it is probably our favorite game of all time, 50 Cent Blood in the Sand.
It is great.
It is good. I've actually played that.
And it's too expensive. First 50 Cent had a shooter that took place in America.
Yes. What was the name of that one? Because Blood in the Sand is his magnum opus.
I don't know.
The first one, was it Get Rich or Die Trying? Or is that the name of his film?
It might be. I don't know.
Regardless, the sequel took him to Iraq, and that's the most insane shit.
With Tony Yayo.
Yep.
Tony Yayo.
Did you guys know that Burt Reynolds was in Vice City?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Did you know that there's a game for the Wii? It's called Deadly Predators or something.
Gummy Bears Mini Golf. Gummy Bears Mini Golf.
It's called Deadly Creatures.
I see a game for the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
Called Deadly Creatures with a snake and a spider on the cover.
Yes, yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Who's the main person in that? Because this is my choice. Because I've actually played this.
Okay, I gotta look. I'm pulling up the Wikipedia now. Dennis Hopper and Billy Bob Thornton.
That sounds good.
Who plays the snake? Who plays the spider?
Well, they don't play that. They're like the narrators.
This game looks ridiculous.
It's fun.
Have we beat around the bush enough?
I think so.
We've been saving one celebrity that is the focal point of the episode.
Yes.
What is that?
Sometimes I just want to break shit.
Sometimes I just want to headline Woodstock 99 and cause
Set the
riots
place on
and deaths.
fire. I'm not a Detroit Red Wings fan, but I really want to go to Lids and get a backwards red cap.
The chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Yeah.
It's a reference to anal sex.
Oh my God, Dylan. Thank you for explaining what the chocolate starfish meant.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to keep rolling, and we're going to bring up the man who inspired.
That's a segue right
That's
there.
great.
That's
You're doing good,
that's
dude.
a
You're fucking nailing it.
Fred Durst.
Okay, all right.
Fred
let's
Durst
go.
is in a lot of fighting games. So I thought his list was a lot more comprehensive than what it actually is.
It's a small number.
It's a small number. A lot of WWE SmackDowns.
Back in the day, it was WWF, though.
Yeah, and he had his own entrance and everything. I actually played as Fred Durst in one of the SmackDown games, and I beat the shit out of The Rock. And I remember that.
And that's how you know it's a fantasy game.
Yes. But Fred Durst is also in a Fight Club game that has almost nothing to do with the movie itself. It's a terrible game.
The game studio.
Have you played it?
No, I watched a real deep dive on it, though.
Really?
The game studio for Fight Club is Genuine Games. They also made 50 Cent Bulletproof. That was the name of the first one. So they also made 50 Cent's first game.
Well, they don't make a bad game per se.
Fight Club is supposed to be absolutely horseshit.
I think it was unfinished because the cutscenes are not like animated.
Well, most of these games
they're
are
stills.
Unfinished.
And the people just talk over them. So it's like literally a slideshow. Meatloaf and Fred Durst are in the game.
They didn't get Brad Pitt. They didn't get Edward Norton.
They didn't get Jared Leto.
But they got Meatloaf and they got Holt McCanny, who became a bigger actor for Fincher later on. He was in Mindhunter.
Fred Durst in video games, though, exists in a very weird spot in gaming history.
Because he was only relevant in a very weird spot in world history.
Yes, because Limp Bizkit is such a flash in the pan. In the late 90s, they were arguably one of the biggest, I wouldn't even say arguably, one of the biggest bands in the world. They headlined Woodstock 99. They constantly top Billboard top charts. Their music videos got so much airtime.
Some little trash named Limp Bizkit.
Yes, and like I haven't listened to a Limp Bizkit song since I watched the Woodstock 99 documentary. And even then I didn't listen to a whole song. I still know a lot of words to a lot of their songs.
If I say fuck 2 more times, there's 46 fucks in this fucked up rhyme.
As a kid, I was like, this is the funniest shit. As a 14-year-old, I love this. And then I grew up and I was 15 and I said, oh no.
I remember jumping on my bed and headbanging to "Give Me Something to Break." Yeah. And I was just like going hard.
And your mom was like, is he masturbating in there?
She's like, quit. No, my dad would have done his famous line, quit fucking around. That's
crazy.
That's how you knew, like, all right, Dad said stop. And then we played video games quietly. I remember that I played as Limp Bizkit. I played as Fred Durst in the WWF SmackDown games. And then when Def Jam Fight for New York came out, I got to play as all these other rappers. And I was really into hip hop and rap as a kid, much more so than I was. Once MCR came around, then I was like, this is my life now.
And welcome to Tyler's first MCR reference of the episode.
It's my second. I snuck one in earlier. Nobody caught it.
Did you?
Yep. Remember when I said Arthur Morgan was a role model? I said, or Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance.
Oh.
That's not sneaking it in. That's just
Why
not
is
hearing.
he?
No, I said it loud enough.
He is a great character in Fight Club. He has no character development. He's unlocked after you beat the story mode. And it's just fucking Fred Durst because there was a licensing deal that Fred had put into place where if you want to use my music in your game,
Motherfucker did research.
If you want to use his likeness in the game, you have to, or no, if you want to use his music in the game, you have to also make a character based on my likeness.
And the market for his type of music was the WWF and WWE fan base. So it was a perfect marriage. How he got into Fight Club, though, that came out of nowhere.
They needed a selling point, and they couldn't get Eddie Norton or Brad Pitt. So they're like, we got Fred Durst.
Which is just as good. Yeah, but it's no surprise that actors have been voicing characters for a long time. You look at Mark Hamill as the Joker. You got Martin Sheen in Mass Effect. You got Ray Liotta
as Tommy Liotta.
As
Tommy
Vercetti.
Hi, I'm Tommy Liotta.
But it seems like likeness is being used more and more to give a game credibility, because then you get a Keanu Reeves moment where he becomes a meme on stage saying you're beautiful.
Even though the game came out and sucked.
Yeah, but people still will post the meme.
People love Johnny Silverhands. How dare you?
My hands are silver. What am I going to call myself?
Yeah.
The origin story.
He can play the guitar.
Han Solo.
I'm going to go blow up a building after having a concert. Like, hey, everyone, we're cool. Look good. And then blow up a building.
Is an actor's performance in a game a selling point for either of you? Or would it largely depend on the performer?
Absolutely no. I don't care. And in fact, it's distracting. I find it to be a little too much. And I think that for the most part, keep it to voice actors.
Getting to the heart of the question, though, is it ever a selling point? No. Because to me, it's like, what is the game? What is the gameplay?
Right.
It'll never be like, I'm on the fence, but then I saw that they would have this specific actor. I don't know any actor that would. Keanu Reeves is the one that they're like, they push the hardest as, if you like this actor,
they tried very hard.
That'll sell the game to you.
And that did work to an extent on me for Cyberpunk, because I am a big Keanu Reeves fan.
Yeah.
And seeing him playing a character in the world that I was already super invested with, super big fan of CD Projekt Red, ready for the game. I was down for it.
I don't know any actor that would be like, I'm such a big fan of theirs that I'm now interested. There's actors I love and appreciate, but it would never be a selling point to me. What is fun, though, is a cameo that makes me laugh or chuckle, like, when Burt Reynolds shows up as a Burt Reynolds style character.
Yeah.
I'll see that and it makes me happy, but I would have played Vice City with or without it, you know?
For me, there's no particular actor or actress that would really sell me on a game. Keanu Reeves' involvement in Cyberpunk 2077 did pique my interest, but I knew I was going to get that game long before I knew he was attached to it.
Because it was the Witcher 3 developers, CD Projekt Red.
I look more for developers. The one exception I'll make is like Nolan North or Troy Baker. If I hear Troy Baker is voicing the lead in a game or is attached to it in a major way, I know I'm getting a balls to the wall performance that is going to be memorable.
I think that's his magnum opus.
Now, if Ariana Grande came out for the new Nier game, the sequel Nier game that's coming, and it was starring Ariana Grande, I would actually buy the game, because I would never buy it without.
There's already one on the iPad I've been playing, but
I heard Mark Wahlberg's going to be in it. Say hi to your mother for me, right? So you're like so you're a meal? Like, how's that for you? Are you like a robot, or what are you?
Oh man, we just cut ties with Mark Wahlberg.
Like and subscribe for us, all right? So we like you. Listen to our podcast.
Subscribe to our Patreon, you know?
Do you like a Patreon? We have access to other shows. Like, you could check it out. It'd be good. I don't know. Is there a storm or something? Say hi to your mother for me, all right?
You are way too good at that, man.
You're actually really
very good at that.
Well,
we work really hard on this show, so I think you should give it a listen. Tell your friends. It's not bad.
Do five stars. It doesn't matter.
If you have any stars, give them to us, but only if they're 5.
Only 5.
Dylan's great. We don't like Brad. 2 stars.
5 stars. He talks about cucks too much.
So patreon.com/HeyTheDogcast. There's a lot of exclusive.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done with that. There's a lot of exclusive perks. It's great. We have a great Discord. We have access to episodes early, exclusive podcasts, exclusive shows, and hangouts. And we love you all. You're fucking great. And
don't even do it for us. Do it because you like the show. And above all else, do it for the nookie.
Take care of yourself and do it for the nookie.
Yes.
But also, if you can't afford it.
So you can take that cookie and stick it up your Here, the Dogcast is part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network.
There we go.
Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. Check out all the other amazing shows.
Actually, I'm speaking directly to Fred now.
Okay. Hey, Fred.
All jokes aside, Fred. Used to be a big fan. Don't really know what's going on music-wise anymore. But The Education of Charlie Banks was a great movie when I was a kid.
What about that, John?